Hey, welcome back. It's the Marriage and Money Podcast with Egypt and Mike.
What? I get. Oh, you still mad? You still mad? I was still mad. Come on, you still mad?
I was wondering how do you, when you work with your spouse on television,
here we go,
and on a podcast, how do you show boundaries? Like when you feel that you need to sometimes we need to live in our mess, right? Sometimes we need to if we're upset, I just need a minute to calm down. But how do I do that? Because I got to talk to you.
I think what she's trying to get at, folks, ladies and gentlemen, is we have a little bit of different parenting styles, right? And I'm sure you can relate to this if you have children. You know, I think she's talking about the time I said, Kendall, our 11-year-old, go ahead, let her have the French fries. And she's like, no. She don't need the French fries because
did I say it like that?
Yeah, that's how you said it.
I don't think that's how I said it.
And then I just jumped in the pool because I ain't want to hear no more. That's not even my voice. Welcome to the Marriage and Money Podcast with Egypt and Mike. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notifications and tell your friends, okay?
So I'm going to be an adult. Let me get out of my feelings. Here's the deal. I am trying to be very conscious of not only what we put in our body, but also what our kids are eating. And let them have it their way. It would be French fries and chicken nuggets every single night, every single meal. That's unhealthy, specifically because they're eating fast food. And we already know the food is just not food anymore. So I have been very cognizant of shopping organically and actually preparing home-cooked meals now, and putting the leftovers in. So we have food. There's food. But Daddy will say, come on, we're going to take a ride.
That's not true.
And come back with bags of Chick-fil-A after mommy just cooked dinner, or I will say, okay, here's the deal, guys, fast food only one night per week. And then I will say, guys, why aren't you eating? Well, Daddy took us to Chick-fil-A earlier today. And so we actually had a conversation. And yes, we are airing this out. Why? Because we can. And this is marriage and money. But, my thing to him is we have to be on the same page.
Yes.
Because the kids, especially like Kendall, our 11-year-old, she knows how to manipulate the situation. She'll come ask me something. If I say no, she runs right over to Daddy.
I'm a girl dad.
Had a conversation.
I'm a girl dad. And that's the bonding time. And it's not all the time.
He wants to be the cool one.
It's not all the time. First of all, let's get this right? So whenever we get in the car sometimes to go to quote unquote fast food areas, why is it that there's fast food in the car already from this one?
No, I'm talking about bad fast food.
What's a good fast food? There's no good fast food.
The deli.
Everything
if I go get salads or if I go get subs or something, there's a such thing as good. Well, I guess let's just say
we worked it out. We worked it out. The whole purpose of the conversation was to say that sometimes there can be different parenting.
We have guests.
We do. We got guests. Okay. We're gonna focus. We right here. Stay with us, y'all.
This wasn't even an Egypt and Mike fight. This was our kids caused us to argue because they got us. Mommy said no fast food, and they ran to Daddy. That's what happened.
We're gonna finish the conversation. See what our guests think about it.
Yeah, well, we have two guests that I absolutely adore. I haven't seen them in a few years. You guys have seen them as well on HGTV for the HGTV brethren. You know that they've hosted. Hold on, I can never see anything without my glasses. I'm still in denial, babe. I'm working on it.
Like that fast food that's in the car.
You better leave me alone. So Flippin' Showdown, Flip or Flop Atlanta, and little known fact, Rock the Block Season 2, which you saw them on, we were judges. The houses that everybody was working on were owned by them. Yes. They built them. So help us welcome to the show, Ken and Anita Corsini. Yes.
Hey, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you.
Thanks for having us.
Thrilled to be here.
Yeah, how you feeling?
Good. I'm good,
Good? Tired? A little bit worn out?
I mean, probably like y'all, like you juggle everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, 24/7.
So, yeah. But I'm good. I love a good conversation.
Okay.
I always say I never turn down a podcast.
Okay.
Because I'll talk.
Or a conversation.
Or a conversation,
Yeah, or a
really. Yeah,
conversation.
it doesn't have to be a
Doesn't have to be a
podcast.
podcast.
But guys, this is a treat. Let me explain why. People assume that everybody on HGTV knows one another and that we see each other on a regular basis. And the truth of the matter is, we never
No.
see each other
Yeah,
because we're all working on our different shows, lives, businesses, most of us in different cities. But what's our excuse? Because we're in the same
I know.
city.
I know.
Yeah.
It's been
We
a
don't have
long
a good
time.
one.
I know.
But that's how much we both have going on, though.
Yeah.
But
Same city and
last
still don't
time-
see each other.
Yeah.
last time we saw each other was 5 years ago, maybe.
That far? It was
It was
a while. It
right?
was- yeah.
We did a panel together.
But it was our first season, so it was
it?
that far back.
So yeah, maybe it was 5 years
Yeah,
ago.
because I hadn't even thought of another baby yet. Now
I
I have a
was-
whole 4-year-old, like a whole. You do
my
too.
goodness.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we've got twins, but they're
Okay.
older. But no, I haven't had a baby as soon as you have.
Wait, so how old are yours now?
15 and 12.
15 and
15.
12.
12-year-olds.
12.
Two 12-year-olds.
12-year-olds,
Okay,
okay.
got it.
Yeah.
That was after that.
We're like, yeah,
The baby shop was
We're
closed.
done. I feel you.
Yeah.
We got
All right,
3
we're
and that's
good.
done.
The baby
That's
shop was closed. That was a big job.
So this is really an opportunity to get to know each other because so many times when we do see each other, we're like in passing.
Right.
But I know that your lives, since you've opened them up for television, much like ours, has had to be like a firestorm.
Sure.
Tell us about your journey, number one, as a family, and then the network, and just how you've been navigating it all. Look at his
Well,
face. His
I
face
was
I
is
was gonna say, let me write all this down, okay? Because that's a lot. That's a lot.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I'm going to give you the short version of kind of what happened before we got on the network, because that was a big deal. That was a big impetus, I think, for me even saying yes to
Okay.
what we did with the show. In 2014, our son was diagnosed with cancer
Okay.
in July. He was 3, turned to 4 in that August. So 4 years old, essentially,
Okay.
early 4. And that was July, and we went through. I mean, you
Right.
can imagine. We
Right.
were down at Scottish Rite. We pretty much lived there.
Mm-hmm.
He was misdiagnosed, so we had to restart treatment. Like, he was very, very, very sick. I mean, you're sick when you're in cancer treatment, but not this sick. And so, but he was misdiagnosed, so he was
How
being
so?
treated.
What did they?
His tumor was on his kidney, and his the scan showed a tumor on the kidney, which is typically a Wilms tumor, which is solid. If you know anything, I'm kind of like a doctor.
Yeah, we're highly educated.
Yeah,
in this
I'm pretty
space.
much a
That's
doctor.
usually what happens.
Yeah.
You can call me Dr. Corsini if you like. No, and so when it kind of like when it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. He was so sick, his kidneys were not functioning, so they could not biopsy him at that time. So they treated it as a solid tumor because lymphoma, which is what he ended up having, has never in the history of mankind ever occurred on a kidney.
Well, it's only on a kid. It was Burkitt's
Only on a
lymphoma,
kidney.
and
Yeah,
it was
thank you.
only on the kidney. He never presented because it's lymphoma. You expect
Yeah.
it to be in your lymphatic system. Well,
Yeah.
it was only on his kidney. So they took an educated guess that it was Wilms.
Right.
Treated him for 6 weeks, made him deathly ill because they were treating him for the wrong cancer.
Wow, man.
So we were so scared. I mean, it was like, so then we go for the right treatment, and this new treatment had a great prognosis, but it was a lot of, it was like kitchen sink, fast and furious. We're not slowing down. And I was like, no, he was already so sick. And this doctor was like, I said, I'm sitting there with a paper, a black notebook, like signing to give treatment. And I said, I think the treatment's going to kill him. And the doctor looked at me and said, it might.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I've never cried. I'm not that big of a crier. I get mad more than I cry. But I've never cried more. And he was like, I don't know what to do with you. The nurse literally brought me like duct tape, and she was like, here's some duct. She was trying to get me to do crafts. So like just to distract me, because I was just.
But so
Wow.
in that moment as a parent, this kind of takes me to last year. Our 11-year-old Kendall, she had a tumor on her neck, on her lymph node, and obviously, as you go through all of the emotions,
Right.
and prayers, and luckily it was not cancerous. But when they did the surgery, I had never been in so many tears in my life. I was a complete mess.
Of course.
Complete mess.
Yeah.
And even now, the doctor's like, we'd never seen anything like that for it to grow where it grew, specifically her
Right.
age. So I don't know how
Right.
you feel, because luckily it was not cancer, and
Right.
you guys dealt with cancer. But I know the angst of a mother
Sure.
and of a
Yeah.
parent.
Yeah.
When it's your child, you're like, give me all the pain, give me
100%.
the sickness.
Yep.
I can take it. Don't
Yeah.
give it to them.
I just
Yeah.
want to make sure I heard you right, though. You said it's either do the test And during this test, there's a possibility of death.
It wasn't even the testing.
It wasn't the test. It was just the treatment. It was the chemo.
So fast and furious.
Because he was so sick. And chemo makes you sick, but not that sick.
Right.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, the type of cancer that he had, which is Burkitt's lymphoma, is the most aggressive form of cancer there is. And it doubles in size every 18 hours.
Oh, wow.
That's how aggressive this cancer was. Yeah.
But the good thing is, when tumors are that aggressive, they respond to chemotherapy.
Okay.
Well, but it has to be a lot. And it's this cocktail. And it's really weird. And all these things you have to do, like literally, like you wake up at 2 a.m. and pretty much like stand on your head and do a cartwheel and try to get him to take this medicine because it has to be in his body by 2:01. And if it's by 2:02, you miss it. And like, literally, we did the gymnastics of getting him there.
So you're doing all of these gymnastics, taking all of these medicines, et cetera, and this is when the show is approached to you?
Well, I'll let you.
It was right after that.
Okay.
So we were fast and furious probably through Thanksgiving?
Through Thanksgiving, this is 14.
And then it was probably February-ish.
And then it's sort of like you're done. It's like they ring the bell, they send you home, you wait for his hair to grow back, and it's like just you're on your road to recovery.
Okay.
So it did go into remission, and he's been fine ever since?
He's been fine ever since.
And with his particular cancer, it was you wait a year, and if that's kind of like your time period. If it comes back quick, then it's really, really, really hard to treat it at that point.
Got it.
But so they kind of like watched him for like 9 months, and then they were like, peace out, y'all. You're good.
He then has more of a chance of catching another cancer from the treatment than even his old one coming back.
Right.
Because again, it responds really well to chemo. That was sort of the silver lining to all this.
Yeah.
Is that it was like, go home and get well.
Right.
Is really what it was like. And so it wasn't until February, a couple months later, we get a call, random call, casting director just says, hey, we see that you flip houses.
Yeah.
We're looking to do, and we're just like, really?
Yeah.
I'm like, we're tired. Like, you're never so tired in your life. And it's like, you're just, honestly, like I was happy to be home and wash the dishes.
Yeah.
Because like when my friends, they got an earful from me. They'd complain about laundry. And I was like,
Yes.
You get to be home and do your laundry. Guess where I did my laundry?
Yeah.
I was like, we're not complaining about this anymore.
Yeah.
It's a blessing and a
You
gift.
guys were battle tested.
Yeah.
Sure.
Big time.
Big time.
Battle
Big
tested.
time. And
But we also had a sort of a new lease on life. So coming out of that, it's like we had this sort of rebirth of like, life's amazing. Life is short. Life is precious.
Don't take it for granted.
Don't take it for granted. And this
Nothing for
call kind of
granted.
came out of the blue, and we're like, you know what? You only live once.
Yeah.
If this is meant to be, then so be. We never expected that it would come to fruition. It was like, we'll do the Skype call. Skype back then.
Yeah. Yes,
And
it
see
was
what comes
Skype.
of it.
Yeah.
So that's so funny.
Dinosaurs.
So wait a minute. You'd never done television before?
Nothing.
Never done radio or anything? You guys were just working on your business and your family? And the call.
Yeah.
This is what people don't believe when they ask us about our journey, and I say, I got a call one day.
Right. I got a call one day.
I really got a call.
Yeah.
And so out of the blue, out of all the people in the world, they saw, and how'd they find you? How'd they know?
Just internet presence.
He had
That's
a
it.
website.
Just a website for, investors and flipping houses and whatnot.
Yeah,
They found us.
just
Think about that though. A website, right? Because you're dealing with a time and day and age that now thrives off of social media.
Right.
Totally.
They didn't find you on social media.
No.
They found you on a website, which means they had to actually do their research to find you.
Wait, was this still in MySpace?
No, not that long.
No.
Come on.
This was 15.
I
It was
know I
close.
just had a
It was
birthday,
close.
but
I'm trying to
no.
process. So, but it was before like Insta and all of that.
Yeah, we weren't kind of dinosaurs.
So you say yes. Okay, you go. You do the Skype, you audition,
Right.
you get the show. You say yes. Life changes.
Yeah.
It was. Let me tell you. Well, I don't have to. God tell you.
Right.
So much work.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And
It was work, but at the same time, it was such an amazingly new experience because, TV and cameras and all this, it's completely new and exciting and like exhilarating. Like, is it going to happen? Are they going to pick up the pilot? Because it takes a long time. Film the sizzle, then film the pilot, and then they air the pilot, and then it's years.
And then you do the actual show.
Then you do the actual show.
And you're like, oh, okay, we got to go and we got to kick this thing in high
It's
gear.
like, wait, 100 miles an hour.
Yes.
Right? That's that's what it was for us.
Yeah.
Here's what, for me, where I got peace, we called together our family and said, listen, you know that little sizzle reel Mike shot on his phone?
Yeah.
Well, the network likes it and they want to do a show. But we can't do this without support.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how we're going to do this because do we hire a nanny or,
Right,
do we have
right.
to bring someone in to live with us? And everybody, we said, look, the only way we can do this is if we have support and we have like you guys' blessing.
Yeah.
And my mom, his aunts, my aunts who
Yeah.
live abroad, they literally take turns.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like to this day,
Amazing.
Yeah.
they
Very
take shifts and it's like 2 at a time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then they fly back to Florida and then they come in from New Jersey.
Mhm.
And then they leave and they go back to New Jersey
Yeah,
and they come in from
amazing.
Florida.
What a gift.
What
That's
a
a
gift.
huge
It's
gift.
a huge. And here's
When I
what's
say
crazy though.
blessing.
With all of that, you still need help.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Like, even on top of it. Yeah, right.
It's like, how do you do it? But you know what? We thank God every day that we're able
Yeah.
to do it and that they're in the presence of someone that
Who
actually
loves
cares
them.
for them.
Yeah.
Because
Loves
that's
them.
one of the things that
Yes.
was boggling us. It's like, oh, if it's not a family member, even if it is a caretaker, are we going to feel comfortable with the person?
You tell me, but even with my mom, one day I found myself saying, Mom, so this is the itinerary and this is what Kendall needs to take and this is what Harper needs to take. And she goes, I kept you alive, didn't I?
Exactly.
Are you really telling me how to mother?
No, I do not tell. Yeah. When moms are in charge, I don't tell my mom anything. And I mean, they might not make it to practice on time.
Uh-huh.
Or she might get lost on the way to practice.
Yeah.
But I gotta learn to if I'm gonna let mom do it, I gotta learn to let that
Yeah.
go. So that for my mom at least.
With all that going on, now you're going 100 miles per hour. What is it that you did as a couple to make sure you didn't get lost in the sauce and you kept it grounded amongst you two?
Wait, how long have you been married, by the way?
A long time.
23 years in April.
Nice.
Right? I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
23 years.
That's
I know.
We were
great.
23 when we
We
got
were
married.
babies when we got married.
Wow.
Really? Yeah, that's right. Half a lifetime now
Yeah.
we've been married.
23 years.
That's amazing.
This
Where'd you
year.
meet?
University of Georgia.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were
She was
Very
leading
cool
a Bible
dog.
study with a roommate of mine, and so she was coming around the
No,
apartment.
what's the real story?
It really is a story.
For television. We were in a Bible study.
She was on a pole. No, I was not on a pole. Yeah. No, yeah.
At the church. It was a church.
It was a church pole. It was a church pole. Yeah. Yeah. No, no.
Pole is a pole.
This is true. This is true. Yeah.
Oh my
no, no.
gosh.
No, that would have been the last place I went.
No,
Yeah.
definitely not Anita.
So you're leading Bible study.
No, yeah, we're back. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
His buddy, and what's funny is his buddy called me all the dang time because we had no cell phones. This
Okay.
is
This is pre-cell phone.
99.
This is in the 90s.
No,
We were
this
college in the
earlier than
90s.
99. Yeah.
97.
And so he's calling, leaving messages on my voicemail, you know,
Uh-huh.
and the girl, my roommates are like, Lem is calling you again and again and again. And so I would call Lem back. Well, guess who answered the phone?
Yeah.
Hot stuff
Ah.
over here.
What's even funnier is then we started communicating over email. Email was a big deal.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Email was new in like the late 90s.
Yeah. So
And
here's
then-
what I did. And I was like, I was a math major, right? So
Okay.
like, you gonna talk about nerdy and like loving my school. I love school. I love everything about school. So, but I'd go to like the math library and I'd get on the computer and be like, oh, he emailed me. You know, and then it would be like, I'd go to my next class because he was sometimes not in class. He was just taking a nap.
I cruised out of school.
Yeah,
I
he
got you.
cruised. But
Yeah.
I was like, backpack, big old red backpack on, you know, and then I'd go to the next library. Oh, he emailed me again. You know, it was like, that was as quick as we got messages,
yeah.
you know.
What's-
So-
it's
what-
funny that's like the University of Georgia had 2 computer labs with like 30 computers, like in the 90s.
Yeah.
And that was it. So it was a big deal to go into
That
the
is a
computer
big
lab,
deal.
check your email,
listen.
communicate.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
So
it
what
was
I'm
fun.
trying to figure out is, were y'all in the same lab at the same time emailing each other?
No,
One of
because
the two
No,
computers?
she was in the math lab,
Okay.
and I was in
He
the
was at
business
home.
lab.
Gotcha.
Or
Yeah,
at home.
Or at home, yeah.
Alright.
So you
Yeah.
get to the first date.
No, way before the first day,
No, I
because
wanna
what
hear-
he's leaving out is, did you tell your buddy?
Oh, yeah, my buddies
Okay.
knew. Yeah, I was not
He
secret.
said you told
Okay.
her
I
I
like
stole
that
her
girl.
from
I
him.
like that
He
girl.
was like,
Stop
She was,
calling her.
she
I
was a
stole
little
her.
exotic too. Like
Got
I
it,
like
got
that.
it.
You know, she's Persian. I was like, yeah, this Anita chick, she's exotic. I like this.
listen, it took someone who really had to be committed
Yeah.
to that.
Okay. Okay.
Committed.
Are you still
Yeah.
friends with that roommate?
Oh
by
yeah,
the way?
still buddies.
Good, good, good,
100%.
good, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he still claims the fact that he set us up. That's his claim to fame.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Props to Lem.
That's right. He's a wonderful friend.
So far you had 2 good calls that changed your life.
That's
It's true.
right.
That's
Okay.
right.
That's
yeah.
right.
about it.
That's,
That's
right.
right.
That's right.
You got a call on your life.
I'll
go.
take it.
I like
I'll
it.
take it.
I like
I'll roll
it.
with it.
So I want to know, like, what was your Mac like? Like, how did you
Oh,
Mac
man.
her?
Did I have Mac? It's probably non-existent. It was on my.
But listen, I
Well,
didn't want a
again,
lot of Mac.
swag.
I didn't want a lot of Mac. Really.
So this was, again, this is like setting the context. This is the 90s. So I think I was wearing
No, let me tell you what you were wearing.
You remind me what I was wearing.
Okay. Because your mom, remember the other day, she was like, you wore those pants from Goodwill that you cut off.
Everything was cut off at Goodwill.
So like, he had
no Mac whatsoever.
No, you had good Mac.
So
For me, he had good Mac. For me, he did.
Yes.
He had on, listen, these corduroy shorts that were cut off and frayed.
Those are jorts.
Okay.
Jorts.
Okay.
They were definitely jorts.
But his mama wanted to hem them, but he wouldn't let her hem them. And I told her the other day, I was like, no, you don't hem those shorts. You leave them. And this white little V-neck T-shirt.
V-neck?
Was it the V-neck that
she
did
liked
it?
the V-neck.
Man, he looked so good.
I guess I gotta pull back out the V-neck,
And his
apparently.
face was a little tan. And the shell necklace.
Shell necklace.
My God, you were a Ken doll.
I was more like a little miniature Eddie Vedder or something.
I do love Eddie Vedder. Like, he is.
We were all into our grunge music back in the 90s.
Eddie wanted to take me on a date one time. I'm just kidding. He didn't.
That.
But
I was like, I didn't hear that.
if he knew, if he sees this, Eddie, call me.
Ooh,
No, I'm just kidding.
You about to get it, Anita. You know that.
I don't like Eddie too.
No, we both love Eddie Vedder.
Like
I do. We love our 90s. We love our 90s.
Wait, you said 23 years of marriage?
23 years.
Almost 24 years of marriage?
No, almost 23.
23 years of
We got
marriage.
married in 2000, so it's easy to remember.
How do y'all keep the spice? Clearly, y'all still have fun, even with everything that life is throwing at you. What's the key?
We keep it. I think what it is we are just friends. Honestly, at the end of the day, we were friends to begin with. And even filming creates for us, it would never created tension for us. It created more friendship because there's more opportunity to just hang out on set and screw around and have fun. And I think for us, what's worked in our marriage is just being friends with each other.
Oh, gosh.
Like legitimately enjoying being around each other.
Yeah.
It means you like each other because
I do.
You're not going to be friends with anyone you don't like.
That's right.
No. And I do like him. I mean, there's times
I appreciate
where.
that.
Yeah, I do. I like you.
I'm glad.
I think I do like him.
I like you. No, I do like you.
Okay, good to hear. That's good to know.
It's the hair, Ken.
It is the hair.
It is the hair.
Now, my mom likes his hair.
Yeah. Everybody's growing their hair out, so I had to do the same. And so, her.
Did your families like naturally embrace the both of you, or did one family give the other a hard way to go?
No, our families get along great actually too. So my parents live next door to us. Her parents live a mile down the road. And so just this last weekend, like my parents were at her parents' house for Iranian New Year.
Yeah.
So our families have blended really well, actually.
But they did,
Yeah.
Yeah. But he did bring a spicy one home. I mean, that was different, right?
It's different, but different
But
good.
they embraced me.
Yeah.
And my parents took him out for a Persian meal and he ate, so he was in.
Okay.
Well, there was, it's some cultural blending because her parents are both first generation. They came over in the 70s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before the revolution. And so, they have thick accents and they speak Farsi. And so for me, this just white kid, didn't know anything about anything.
With the shell necklace.
With the shell necklace.
They're like, why? Where is your gold? They wanted gold. Where's the gold? Come on. But he had on shells. Yeah.
Man.
They embraced the shells. It was all right.
They did. They embraced me.
the
They
shells.
did a very good job of embracing me.
Let me take us there. The first time they ever met him, and then he leaves, what was the conversation?
That's a good question.
I don't even remember.
First time I met your mom, they took me to a Persian restaurant.
Yeah.
It's like if you're gonna date my daughter, you got to know about Persian food.
Yeah.
And so they
Culture
took me
is
to
important.
culture was great.
Big
So
time.
I think the fact that I devoured the food, like it was, I didn't have any hesitations about Persian food.
We like him. He knows
I
how
like
to
this
eat.
kid.
He knows how to eat.
That's what it was.
Eating is a big deal.
No, so that's a good question. So the first time you and I went out, why'd you take a deep breath?
No, I'm just what? Go ahead. Go ahead, because I got whatever you about to bring, I got you. What?
Well, since he asked, right? Like, let's go there. After I left, after you introduced me to your mom, what did she say? Go.
What did she say? Well, see, here's the thing. You know my mom. She's not going to give too much, right? So those conversations are few far in between.
You're talking way too much. What did she say?
Uh-oh. Don't hide it. Don't hide it. It's all right.
No,
Well, I said, you know I love
this
you.
is my mother.
You know I love you, but I want to know what you said the first time. Go.
Oh, matter of fact, here's what she did say. She didn't say so much about hers. More so, did you tell her your situation? Did you tell her what's going on? Because I was in between married. I was married before.
Gotcha.
She was like, did you lay out everything for that? Basically, she's saying, I like her, but she never said I like her. She just want to make sure, don't mess us up.
Yeah.
Did you tell her everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you? That was our conversation.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, see?
Yeah. I don't know. My parents, they were probably pretty quiet. I don't even remember. I mean, Dad knew that I liked you because I called my dad every day. And
About him?
Not about him, but just we always talked. And I guess it was like the first time I ever really, really liked somebody. You know, everybody else was just kind of.
What's funny is I remember meeting your dad for the first time, and it's so he was a mechanic. He was actually an engineer and became a mechanic, had his own shop in Norcross. And I remember the first time you took me to him, like, it was one of those things where he takes a step back. He literally, I think, held my face and just looked at me. I analyzed whether this kid was going to be the right guy or not.
Yeah, because he knew that, like, I wasn't joking around. Yeah.
Let me look at you, son.
Wait.
And I just remember being so intimidated. Like,
what was it? He was trying to look in your eyes to see what you were made of.
But even just like taking it all in. He
was trying to figure out what your kids were.
Yeah.
Listen. Let me see your face.
That's probably what it was.
We got some cute kids.
It was so funny.
Good.
Yeah. No, he was good.
He kept me around, so I guess I passed the test.
They adore you.
That's funny.
So you guys build houses, you flip houses, you've got a successful business, and how are you managing it all? Seriously.
I really don't know. I mean, we first of all, I think there's a lot of grace, right, in the day. I mean, that you've got to have a lot of grace because there are times when we need each other and like, I need you to do this, but like, you just can't. And like, you got to be willing to take that. That's hard, you know? Yeah. For example, can I give this example?
I guess.
Like remember, we got to get our car tags. We had to get our, this month was my birthday. I did it today.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did it today.
By the way, you mean that birthday tax they do it, that ad valorem tax? And which is, whoever thought, who thought in Atlanta that it was a great idea to tax people on their birthday?
Yeah.
Just think about that.
And now it's not even like the last day of the month. It's on your day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I'm past, which I had to pay extra because.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
I kept
Happy
saying,
birthday.
because the tag office is literally like 1/8 of a mile from our office, right? So I was like, Ken, I kept saying, Ken, go get, I was like, just drive through it's a drive-through.
Yeah.
Like, it is literally a 5-minute process. I was like, can you go get the stickers? Because we're going to get pulled over. Can you go get the stickers? Yeah. Or, you know, or I'd text the kids, ask daddy to go get the tags.
And I was supposed to yesterday and I totally forgot. But.
And then I was going to, but I didn't.
So we still don't have tags?
I did it today.
Okay.
Today we are good
we don't want you to get a ticket on the way home from here.
But it's stuff like that, right? Because that's part of the juggling.
Yeah.
I mean, just the car tags. You got to juggle that. And, you know, it was, but at the same time, it's like, I'm not mad at him that he didn't go get the tags yesterday. But I will, you know, push a little, be like, well, I got the tags, you know. But it's that kind of stuff that can get, you know, I'd rather drop the tags than like leave a kid somewhere alone or whatever.
But I fully get that. It's not even the big problems, right? Because we're almost prepared for the big stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we're like, I'm built for this and we know we're going to, but the little things day to day to add up, we're not so much. Like they send you over the edge, really. Right. I don't even remember. We were just fighting about the French fries. That's what we were fighting about, right? See, like the little thing that he took them to get fast food. But, you know, people often ask, Mike and I, how do you live together? Are you married and you work together and you do the show and the whole thing? And the truth is we'd love to give some really great cerebral answer that you could draw life inspiration from. We don't know. Like on a daily, we're just figuring it out.
Totally.
But you gotta have, it's just, grace is the only word I can really think of. But because you've got, I mean, he juggles a lot, but I juggle a lot too. And I don't always know what he's juggling, but I give him the, you know, the benefit of the doubt, whatever you want to call it, the grace, the good, you know, to go, okay, just because he doesn't have time for me this minute, when, you know, if I really need it, then I'll make sure he knows, you know, but most of the time it's like, I just need, you know, but there's grace in that because he's juggling a lot and his intentions are good, you know, so that's really, I think, part of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think for we've 23 years of marriage, you kind of start to figure out, you know, your rhythms. And for us, it's a lot of just grace. Let me step in. Let me do this for you. I know you're busy today. I can take the kids here. Or I can stay. And you're just constantly just making it work. Like you said, it's not like we've gotten some written down strategy how we make it work. No. But we've, and over the years, like everybody hits rough patches, right? We hit rough patches. And whenever we do, we tackle them. We call them a tune-up. You know, we'll go in and see somebody and get a tune-up, make sure that we've got the tools, that we're equipped.
I was going to ask you that. You know, 23 years, it's such an accomplishment to be together that long. But of course, you're doing a lot of growing individually.
Absolutely.
And how do you make sure you're not growing apart? That you're constantly, you know, lock in step with one another.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good question.
Yeah. Well, when we got married, imagine your 23-year-old self and then marriage, right?
Yeah.
And I joke with my girls, and this is going to sound terrible, but like I always say, I don't like the Disney princess movies because that is not marriage, right? I mean, life is not, maybe that's falling in love, and that, that's fair, but that's really not your picture. Because in my head, right, anything that we saw differently, the minute we said I do, it was all about me, and guess what? It's not. It's just not. And he is who he is, and I am who I am. And both of those things are really good. But when you are 23 and immature and don't really know that, and all you think is, oh, I'm going to get whisked off my feet and be this princess that's pampered all my whole life, that is hard to navigate.
I love the way you just put that. Little girls, we grow up looking for our Prince Charming because we want to be the princess.
Sure.
We wanted to be the Disney princess,
Right.
And then the reality is that doesn't exist anywhere.
No.
That doesn't exist.
It's false.
There needs to be a doll that's like, I got problems.
Yeah. Like
I'm the conflict. I'm the it's complicated.
Like, I can't button my jeans today, and I'm really mad, and like my hair's got grays in it. I mean, like, where's that doll, right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, thankfully, 23, I didn't have the grays yet, but they came later. But so we've just navigated a lot, and we've navigated it all together, which was good now, but in our 20s it was hard. I mean, we didn't know.
But I felt like we've always been intentional. Like from the get-go, we did premarital counseling when we were 23.
At 23?
23, yeah. We're very intentional about, again, you're constantly choosing your spouse.
Yes.
Right? You're making a decision
every morning.
It's an absolutely a choice. Like I'm going to be intentional about making sure that we're investing in our marriage.
Right.
And it doesn't have to, be amazing all the time. Sometimes it's just, let me go fill up the gas tank for you. Or let me take the kids here.
Because I hate putting gas in
yeah, but it's the little things like that add up over time.
Yeah. And it, and there's, it's just.
I'm okay?
Yeah. He thinks she wants you to put gas.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a subtle.
Yeah. But so it's just been a ride and it's been a journey, and it hasn't been a Disney movie, right? I mean, and our kids were sick and pregnancy was hard and all of those things, but it's, now that I think we've lived enough life and had hard times and good times, it's like now even when the hard times come, it's like there's this belief and truth that I know it will eventually be okay. And the one thing that I really learned, I took away, I think it was, I don't even know how long ago, but not when I was 23. I should have known this when I was 23, is to believe the best in your spouse. And if you lead from believing the best in your spouse, it brings a freedom in your marriage that changes everything. Because it used to be, you said this and you pissed me off, right? Whatever he could look at me funny and tell me the sky was purple and I was going to argue the sky was, whatever it was, whether it was big or little, he was a bad guy. And eventually, and at that point, he was the enemy. Like, what's wrong with him? And he's wrong and I'm right and blah, 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 blah. And you get in that routine where now I'm like, oh, homeboy probably had a bad day. And like, or one of the kids really ticked him off or, some business deal or he's carrying a heavy burden that he probably hadn't told me about yet.
Right.
I had to learn it. I had to learn it. And I was like, he probably didn't mean that. And what will happen is you kind of can let it fizzle. I don't let it go by. It's not like I'm stuffing it and I don't even have a notepad of what all those things were. And I really don't. But I might say, listen, the other day, this kind of hurt and he'd be like, his response is, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it to come out that way.
But even your response had to be learned over time because when you're young and immature, you want to be defensive.
Yes.
Your first response is, how dare you? You're coming at me.
Yeah.
But that's you have to learn the tools of like, you know what, I got to receive this.
And you learn that through therapy.
And experience
in therapy, But,
and other couples. So there were, I taught at a high school when I was, I told you I was a math major. So my first job was a math teacher. And I taught at a small Christian school, and a lot of the parents they modeled a lot for me. And there was some that I was like, oh, I like that. And some I was like, oh, I don't want to be like them.
Right.
But those women, I mean, if we had rough patches that I couldn't see straight, I went to someone who was, 10 or 15 years ahead of me. And I was like, I can't believe he gave me this for Christmas. Like one year I was really mad that he gave me something for Christmas. And she was like, honey, that's a really lovely, thoughtful gift. And I was like, he does not. Because it's really important for me. What was important from that is I wanted to feel known.
But is that your love language too? Is like gifts?
I do love gifts. I do love gifts, but I have lots of love. I have lots.
She's probably more words of affirmation.
Yeah. But I do like gifts.
Yeah.
But I like to feel known in gifts, right? So like if he's, he should know what kind of candy I like or whatever. But like that year, for whatever reason at Christmas time, I got really upset about something that he gave me. I don't even, who knew even
But you were in the doghouse.
I was in the doghouse.
You were like, what did I do? I got you a gift.
Yeah,
I remembered.
Right, exactly.
And then, but
I thought it was thoughtful.
Right,
right.
And
it really was. But I was blind. And I was just, I don't even know what it was. But it took me to go to see beyond myself. And because this matters, I was willing to go, all right, sister, tell me what is wrong here, And then I was able to own what was, and work backwards. And you have to eat crow a little bit, but like, that's all right. Yeah. If I'm going to eat crow, I'm going to eat crow here.
Yeah.
Because it's worth it.
Yeah. It's so funny how we're different, but we're the same. Like often we come from different walks of life. We come from different ethnic backgrounds and we think we have to be, or our marriage and relationships have to be so different. Right. And really we're the same. Like Mike, 3 Christmases ago, he bought me a designer pocketbook.
Expensive designer pocketbook.
It was a response to me saying, I don't think you pay attention to what I actually like. Like, you buy me what you want, but you don't pay attention to what I like. And he said, well, what do you like? And I started showing him things I like. Yeah. So he actually made the effort, really, and he was so proud of himself. He made the concerted effort. He picked out a limited edition pocketbook, whole thing, but it was the wrong color.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's all right. It's okay.
Hold on. It's okay. No, I'm getting somewhere here. Give me grace. Give me grace, please, okay? So when and I'm a gifter. I love giving a lot of gifts. Like the Christmas tree, I'll just fill it up, gift for everybody. And I'm okay sometimes if I don't even get anything. But this particular year, I saw a gift under the tree, and it was a nice, pretty box. It was for me. I was so excited. And I opened it, and I was like, he was like, you like it, right? Yeah. You like, this is great. This is what you wanted. And I was like, no. Can you take it back? You still have the receipt? It was so mean of me.
Oh,
it was so
I've been
mean.
there. I've been
there.
there.
It was so selfish, so self-centered. But it was also like, come on, we done been together for 15 years. 15 years.
Yeah.
And you know that's the color I hate. Like, you didn't get me my favorite color. So I understand you when you say, like, I was feeling myself. And what I had to do was recalibrate. Why are you kicking me under the table? It's okay.
I'm not kicking you under the table. I thought that was the chair.
You kicked me on purpose because you didn't want me to say something. But that's the growth, right?
Right.
Because I came back and I apologized. Yeah. And I cried.
2 weeks later.
Yeah.
No, it took me, but
it's all right. Growth is growth, right?
Because we have to find our inspiration where we did. And I talked to my mom and I talked to my aunt, and they were like, you selfish little bitch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Listen,
that'll put you on what? Yeah, bring it over here. But they had to help me recognize, like, really, it shouldn't even be about the material thing. It should be about the effort. That they still made the effort after all this time to make sure, that you were happy. And so I didn't get a pocketbook.
Right.
And because I told him, take it back. Don't even give me a new one. I didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
You
didn't get punished.
I didn't punished yourself. It was the best.
But one of our big things, too, though, is materials don't really matter. I mean, for instance, if I buy her something for $100, she buys me something for $100, all we did was exchange $100.
Right.
So our thing is experiences over materials now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Even if that experience is buying something, it's not focused on the actual material item. It was the experience of doing something, or the experience of doing things together, creating more memories. Yeah. Those are more tangible
over
in our lives now.
Memories,
you know what I mean?
Materials. But before you guys go, because it's never enough time, I want to make sure we get this in. What is your marriage finance philosophy? Do you have one?
Oh, Ken's maybe the philosopher in that department.
Do you handle the money?
I was going to say, two-part with you loving math so much, I would have been you.
You would think it would be me, but I don't really want to do it. And I don't really like budgets.
Okay.
We did budgets when we were first married because we didn't have two nickels to scrape together. So I was very on. I had the spreadsheets and everything. And then eventually we got to where we were making enough money that we didn't. But we're both sort of the same mindset. We're pretty frugal. We really are.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a high degree of trust in our marriage. I don't believe that she's going to go out and just squander money on something stupid.
Right.
She's going to go to Trader Joe's and drop or Costco and drop a few $100 on something.
I love Trader Joe's.
But she's not going to go just
That's your addiction?
squander money.
Well, I do. I like their cookies and stuff. But
She has a Trader Joe's budget. It's like
no, and I just like treats. Like I do.
That's true.
I'll go and I'll buy me,
that's true.
some makeup or hairspray if I want it, whatever. And that makes me feel good.
Do you guys have separate accounts or is there one joint account?
It's one joint account.
Yeah.
It's our money. It's never been her money, my money.
Yeah.
It's always, again, because we can't. We were 23, didn't have any money, so it was always our money. It was like, you're working, I'm working, let's pay some bills.
Yeah. Like I was making $25,000 a year.
As a teacher.
As a teacher, busting my tail. I could have made more at Starbucks. Like legitimately, I could have.
Yeah.
And so like, we just had to pay the bills.
We just had to pay the bills then.
And I didn't like it when I really wanted this new hutch. Remember, because our friends got some new furniture. And we still had the couch that my cat had peed on that my mom gave me. And I
The pee-pee couch.
It smelled so bad.
You never get cat pee out of anything.
Nothing.
Like,
It was
No, you don't.
awful. And I just wanted a new piece of furniture. And he took me and we looked and he's like, we can't do it right now. And I was like, yes, we can. We got paid. But I really only wanted it because our friends had a new piece of furniture and I really wanted a piece of furniture. But honestly, now it's like, good for you for saying no. Like we didn't need the piece of furniture.
Right. Well, we were both responsible where we weren't trying to take out a bunch of credit. We've never been irresponsible with money. So like I said, we've always sort of been on the same page. We trust each other not to go make a stupid decision in terms of finances. And she trusts me to invest and spend money and put it to where it needs to go. And
And we have to
the church pole.
No, there's really no poll. Let's just make it clear. No poll. But he's riskier than I am.
Okay.
I'm not that risky when it comes to money because I'm like, just pay the bills and everybody's happy and I can go to Trader Joe's and we can be fine, right? And but
our business is you're always juggling risk in our business.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Am I going to build this spec house? Am I going to flip this house?
Calculated risk.
Calculated risk.
Yeah.
So I'm managing that on a daily basis. But in terms of our home finances,
right.
That's
And when it comes to those business risks, I really just let him do it. Because here's the deal. That's who he is. It's so who he is. And he's not going to he might make a decision that tanked us, but.
We've lost money in houses.
Yeah.
They're not all perfect.
But I could still go to Trader Joe's, so it's fine.
As long as you can go to Trader Joe's.
Listen, it's so true. Like, we're not living in a cardboard box, right? So like, there was this trust there. Right. So it was okay.
Right.
And that's.
I would have, we always wrap the show with one to go on, one to grow on. So my one to go on is all is always well as long as you can go to Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
That's a life lesson, folks.
That's actually true in our house, too. That's funny.
Yeah. If you can go get some gummies and flowers, you're going to be okay.
All is well. What's your one to grow on?
My one to grow on, as you may know if you've been following this show, is I pull it from the conversation and whatever I'm feeling, that's what I go with. And what I got from this conversation is grace. You have to give each other grace. You got to allow each other to have their own space and understand that we're human. We're all going to stumble at some point, right? The same way you treat a kid when they fall, you're like, you're there. Come on, you can do it again. We have to be the same in our relationships and allow each other to have that moment to be able to fall and get back up.
Damn, I should have taken mine more serious.
No, you're good, girl. You're good.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And Anita Corsini.
Yes, sir.
Such a pleasure having you
Wait,
guys.
where can they find
my gosh, yes.
Redbarnhomes.com.
And I'm just Anita Corsini and Ken Corsini on Instagram.
Yeah.
Not YouTube. Lord, not YouTube. Sorry, guys.
God bless you for doing YouTube, though.
Yes.
It's work. We were saying it's a full-time job.
Yes.
Listen, I'm showing my
But
age.
it's
all right.
Marriage
It's
and
okay.
Money podcast.
With
Thank
Egypt
you
and
for
Mike.
tuning in. Make sure you subscribe.
Tell your friends.
And turn on your notifications, okay?
That
Subscribe to keep going. And watch Married to Real Estate on HGTV. Okay, you might catch these guys. Maybe they'll come have a cameo since we're
you
the
go.
same city.
There you go.
Yeah, there it is.
Whatever you need.
There we
I know
go.
everybody needs a hand.